For as long as we've been around, we've been telling stories about what goes bump in the night. It's almost like a human instinct, right? To try and put a name to that shadow you see in the corner of your eye, or to explain that sudden chill that runs right down your spine. It's a history as old as we are, this constant need to make some sense of the unexplainable.
And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Ghost, poltergeist, alien, why do we have this deep need to create a whole dictionary for our dread? Is it about actually understanding these things, or is it maybe just about feeling a little less alone in the dark?
Okay, so let's get into it. Our first instinct when we're scared is to try and classify things, to put them into neat little boxes. It's our way of trying to get some control over the unknown. So let's take a look at the taxonomy, this classification system that we've built for our terror.
What's so fascinating is how we break it all down. Like, on one hand, you've got a ghost that's usually tied to a place. It's the spirit of someone who died, and a lot of the time it's just a sad echo, a replay of the past. But then you have a poltergeist, and that's just pure chaos. It's noisy, it's physical, and weirdly enough, it's often connected to a living person, usually a teenager with a ton of turbulent energy. And then there's witchcraft, which isn't an entity at all, but the idea of a living person messing with these forces on purpose. So the big question is always, are we dealing with the dead, some kind of psychic tantrum, or a human being with a plan?
And we can get even more specific. Even inside the haunting category, we make these really crucial distinctions. A residual haunting is basically a psychic stain on a place. It's harmless, really, just like an old film playing over and over. But an intelligent haunting, well, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a consciousness that knows you're there. It can interact with you, respond to you. It has a will of its own. And that is a much more unsettling thought. But of course, some things just refuse to fit into our neat little boxes. And this is the perfect example. The Bell Witch of Tennessee wasn't just some shadowy figure or a repeating sound. I mean, this entity, which people called Kate, was so articulate it could hold actual conversations, argue about the Bible, and just psychologically torment a family with this chilling intelligence. It was even blamed for poisoning the head of the family, John Bell. An articulate entity completely changes the game. It's not just a haunting anymore, it's a relationship, a terrifying, malevolent one. So that idea of a malevolent, intelligent entity that breaks all our rules, well, that's the perfect launch pad into our next great fear, the fear of forces so big, so intelligent, that they make us feel completely and utterly insignificant. This is where fear goes cosmic. And the architect of this whole new kind of dread was H.P. Lovecraft. See, he wasn't interested in your garden variety ghosts. He said that true horror, what he called the weird tale, wasn't about our personal sins or some spooky thing in the attic. No, it was about the slow, dawning realization that we are nothing in the face of these vast, ancient, unknown forces out there in the cosmos. He actually called his philosophy cosmicism. And the main idea is terrifyingly simple. We just don't matter. The universe isn't out to get us. That would mean it actually cares about us. Nope. The universe is just indifferent. And the things lurking in the dark spaces between the stars are so ancient and so powerful that we're less than ants to them. The ultimate horror isn't being damned, it's being irrelevant. This comparison really nails the massive shift. Traditional Gothic horror is personal. It's about your soul, your morality. The world is dangerous, but it makes sense. But cosmic horror? That's intellectual. The threat isn't to your soul, it's to your sanity. The fear comes from realizing that the world isn't for us. It was never for us, and everything we think we know about reality is just a fragile little story we tell ourselves. Now, this legacy of the weird, this cosmic dread, this idea of unknowable forces, it didn't just stay in the pages of old pulp magazines. Oh no. It mutated. It evolved, and it found brand new homes in our modern world, often in ways Lovecraft himself probably could never have dreamed of. And you know where this idea of exploring all kinds of different fears really thrived? The horror anthology. Shows like The Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt gave us a new nightmare every single week. And you'd have this charismatic host, like the Crypt Keeper, who acts as our guide, a modern, articulate entity, kind of like the Bell Witch, but instead of tormenting one family, he's leading all of us through the darkness. And today, that whole mix and match approach has just gone into hyperdrive.
It's a playground for artistic fusion. Creators are taking completely different ideas, totally unexpected genres, and just smashing them together to create these entirely new forms of dread and, well, even melancholy. Okay, check out this creative prompt, for example. The goal is to write a song about the haunted animatronics from the video game Five Nights at Freddy's. But here's the wild part. The lyrical style is supposed to be like Prince. So you're taking the creepy lore of that game and filtering it through the vulnerable, complex, soul-searching vibe of a Prince ballad. How cool is that? And the music? It's the same kind of fusion. It's not just a scary soundtrack, it's a blend of Prince's classic 80s Minneapolis sound with these subtle horror elements, like the little mechanical clicks and whirs of the animatronics. This is the weird in action, right here. It's blending nostalgia with unease, the organic with the mechanical, to create a feeling that is completely new and just deeply unsettling. But here's the thing. This feeling of unexplainable dread, it's not just for fiction. Sometimes the real world throws a mystery at us that's so profound that even the most official, serious institutions have to just throw up their hands and say, we have no idea what's going on. Okay, so get this. In 2014, a Chilean Navy helicopter is on a routine patrol. Two super experienced officers spot something, a flat, elongated structure. They saw it with their own eyes. But here's where it gets really weird. It was invisible to their advanced onboard radar, invisible to two separate ground radar stations. They tried to contact it multiple times, nothing. And then, right before it vanished, it shot out this huge plume of some kind of unknown hot material. After 2 years of investigation by top scientists, the official Chilean government agency that studies these things reached its conclusion. General Ricardo Bermudez, the director, said that after they had exhausted every single possible explanation, the committee unanimously agreed. They couldn't explain it. It was officially labeled a UAP, an unidentified aerial phenomenon. So, in the end, reality itself had presented them with a true weird tale. So we've gone from a vengeful spirit in a Tennessee farmhouse to an indifferent god in the cosmos, all the way to an unexplainable object in our own skies. It's pretty clear these stories are more than just campfire tales, right? They are a legitimate, celebrated art form that we use to explore our deepest anxieties. And there's no better proof of that than the Bram Stoker Awards. I mean, this is basically horror's version of the Oscars or the Grammys. It's a formal recognition that crafting fear is a high art, something that deserves to be celebrated and taken seriously. And just look at the incredible range from the 2023 nominees alone. You got a novel about a classic haunted house, a screenplay about a giant monster that's really about national trauma, an anthology of indigenous dark fiction, and yep, even a graphic novel adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft himself. The genre has never been more alive or diverse, touching every medium and every culture. So we've taken this whole journey, right, from a ghost tied to one single house, to the mind-breaking horror of the entire cosmos, to the weird fusions and official mysteries of our world today. It really seems like our fears are a mirror. They reflect what we worry about: family, technology, our place in the universe, the very nature of reality. And that leaves us with one last big question. What do the monsters we're creating today say about who we are right now?